You ever get a book and you get into it and you want to explain it to someone else, but there's just so much to it that your brain fries and overloads because you're just so excited about it? This is going to be a tough one, folks, because for your edification, I have for you the St.Coleman prayer book for the Orthodox Western Rite. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is episode 13, and this is the St. Coleman prayer book. I'd like to thank my dear friend Fredrika for sending this in for review. It's going to be shipped off to her once we're done. But now that I've had a chance to dissect it, I will certainly be getting a copy for myself. All right, let's get the boring part out of the way, although it might not be boring to you. It's not boring to me. Anyway, the first edition of this book was published in 2003 through St. Petrock Monastery in Hobart, Tasmania, which is the community that uses this Western Rite. The second edition, which we have here, is from Kelbride Press out of Scotland. The editor was Father Michael Wood. There you go. I believe there is a hardcover version of that, and if there is, I will be sure to pick it up. This is not a light book. It's it's chunky. Anyway, so real quick about the Western Rite. The Western Rite, in its various forms throughout the Orthodox world, is pretty much a lot of it is a pre-schismatic worship style. The old Roman style. You have the Gallican, and later on you have the more Episcopalian style, C of E type stuff. And I do have a few books that are based on that. And in fact, it was both the liturgy of St. Gregory that St. Tikhon of Moscow approved, as well as what is now called the St. Tikhon Mass or liturgy, which is actually based on the Anglican liturgy. But that's neither here nor there. So little slight history lesson for you there. So this particular project began in 1996, took about 7 years to develop, and was overseen by Metropolitan Hilarion of Rotkor. That is the Metropolitan of the Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia, here in the United States. And he is a lovely man with a great love for the Western Rite. And he actually wrote the preface to this edition. And of course, he name checks Saint Raphael and Saint Tikhon and the work they did, and so it's and of course our dear saint of Shanghai and San Francisco, Saint John Maximovich, who was famous to have said that you don't need to be Eastern to be Orthodox, which I wholeheartedly agree with. So let's get into what's in this book. Oh my goodness. I'm really held back by the constraints of this phone camera, what you want to call it, and the fact that I can only do about a 10-minute video. So we're going to blast through some stuff here. The first thing that jumped out to me was the original Sarum liturgy, which even if you try to find texts online is not easy to come by for some odd reason. It always seems incomplete. So you have the Sarum liturgy, the liturgy of St. Theodore. I'd never heard of that one before, so yay. And of course the liturgy of St. Gregory. The liturgy of St. Gregory being the latest form of the liturgy and the closest to what now Roman Catholics would use. But what's neat about this, and I will tell you, this particular liturgy, the Sarum liturgy, is mostly from a 1868 translation by someone named Pearson. They don't really say who. And I didn't bother to look up because I'm lazy. I'm a little lazy. Anyway, it's a simplified version of that. But, so they really can't call it a Pearson translation, but it's, it is what it is. Now, of course, with Psalm 50, 51 there, I gotta say, I dug and dug and dug and dug. I went through maybe 50 translations of the Psalms, couldn't find one to match it, so that only leads me to believe that the Psalms are a product of the Pearson translation as well, unless Father Michael did another translation based on it. So you have all the text, you have the rubrics for all the services, which is great. And actually, in the beginning of the book, it goes over quite extensively what goes into setting the stage, as it were, as far as how things should be set and look for the altar, and a few other notes. Yeah, see, ceremonial notes, usage, yada 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 yada. The liturgies of St. Theodore and St. Gregory mirror that of the Sarum liturgy, so they're all practiced the same way. The Sarum, I'm sorry, Sarum. This is not Lord of the Rings, kids. The Sarum liturgy and the St. Theodore liturgy, I would say the what would now, I guess, be called the Anaphora Prayers in the Eastern Rite are just magical. I'm not going to go into it because we'll be stuck here all day. So I'm going to go through a few of the other features of this book, and then I'll get into a few things that it doesn't have. The only private prayers in the book are the ones you see here: a prayer to our Blessed Mother, prayers for our bishop, and to spare us, and that's, short petitions, that's it. There are, and you'll notice this in the Western Rite, coming up through those first 1,000 years or so, there wasn't a whole lot of literate people. You didn't have prayer books until the advent of the printing press, but you had prayer traditions. Now, what we have in the West stems from the monastic tradition. Most prayer books we have today in the Eastern Rite, come out of the Eastern monastic traditions. The Western monastic traditions was mostly, the liturgy of the hours, the daily offices. And so what we have here instead of that would be page 2. So you have the liturgy of the hours. You have all of them. And evensong, by far one of my favorites. See, I was an Episcopalian for a while, but I got over it. Evensong was always my favorite service, and I don't know why. It's an evening service. I guess that's why I like Vespers so much. And what evensong is traditionally, it's an amalgamation of Vespers and Compline together, though the form we find here for the early Sarum usage is a great deal different than what you find later on, even in the Episcopal books from the 16th century, which I got one of those laying around. I'm going to do a review on it, I promise. Anyway, there are plenty of extensive notes in here on how everything's served. I went over that. There are 2 separate litanies that precede the liturgies according to the seasons, which I think is cool. If you're into old litanies, let's see here, page 17. Let me just get into that real quick. I can't see page numbers through there, so I'm just gonna where is it? Come on. There you go. So you have one used during Advent and Lent, and at the end of Terce or Matins, and then the second one. Where you at? Show yourself. Here we go. And the second one being the Litany to the Most Holy Trinity. 10 taken into use in a Trinity Tide apart from blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so yeah, Trinity Tide, that would be, you know, the normal season, Pentecost season. Anyway, if you're into liturgical history, if you're into geeking out about our lost Western roots, this right here is worth every penny. If you're looking for something for personal prayer, we'll do that one in another video. It's not this one. At any rate, thank you again to my dear friend Fredrika for sending me the book for review. I really wish I could show you more. These are my constraints. At any rate, yeah, buy this book. Link down below. You will love it. You will treasure it. As always, 1.5. Nubby thumbs up. Don't forget to go to church, say your prayers, and remember God. And thank you all again for watching. Love you. Okay, so bonus track time. One of the cool things that I came across, again, with the beginning of the Psalm liturgy, the priest and ministers enter the transept in procession. At the rood screen, they make the station, the priest facing the altar with raised hands and tones. There you go, okay. But what's above that? The hymn Nunc Sancte Nobis Spiritus. It's not listed here. So, I'm like, I know the internet will tell me what it is. And so it did. And, whoop, printed it out. And I come to find out that it was penned by none other than one of my favorite saints of all time, St. Ambrose of Milan. Now, I've got the Latin here, and I've got the literal English. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read you the Latin, okay? But I want you to go look up the English yourself. I just love Latin, and so here we go. Here, you can look at that while I'm reading. You can see my reflection. Nunc Sancte Nobis Spiritus, unum Patri cum Filio, dignare prontus ingeri nostro refusus pectori. Os lingua mens sensus vigor confessionem personat. Flemescat igne caritas, ascendat ardor proximos. Presta Peter Pissime, Petrike compar unis, cum spiritu paraclito, regnans per omne seculum. Amen. Sorry, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, anyway, so go look that up. That's the, I'll leave it in the description below. You guys have had enough. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And God bless you all. I hope you have a great day.